So, you watch Marvel films?
I get confused with the other DC and Marvel, but yeah.
So you're aware of like the superhero concept?
Yep.
So if we go issue 1 of Tim Wallace's superhero story, what's issue 1? Where did you grow up? Where did it all begin?
Okay. Issue 1 of my... Okay, I wouldn't consider myself a superhero, but...
Everyone's the hero of their own story.
Okay. Grew up in Anchorage, Alaska. Went to Service High School, which a lot of people haven't heard of. Then went to the national team in Ann Arbor, and then went from there to the University of Notre Dame, and then started playing professionally.
And then on that national team, you did have 2 pretty good players on that team with you, Ryan Kessler and Patrick Eves.
Yeah, there was more than 2. Zach Parisi, Jimmy Howard, Patrick Eves. Matt Carl, all NHL. Ryan Suter.
It's a pretty good class.
Yeah, it was good, really fun. Won the under 18s, or won the under 17s, won the under 18s. It was some good hockey.
And what got you into hockey when you were out in Alaska?
I played all the sports as a kid, and then I played baseball, soccer 1 year, football 1 year. Got hurt. Mom wouldn't let me play anymore, so that was the end of that. So she let me play hockey. Loved baseball, played basketball and hockey in high school, and then it was the same season, so it was really hard to go from one practice to the next. And then I just had to choose, and I chose hockey.
What made you make that decision? Was it you love that game more, or?
I couldn't touch the rim. That could have been one thing. I was pretty good at basketball, but I figured.
What position were you?
I was point guard.
Okay, you orchestrate the whole thing.
That was it. Yep, I was calling the plays, but I figured I could go farther in hockey, so I think I made the right decision.
And what made you choose Notre Dame as your university?
I went on a visit there, the official visit, and it's a beautiful, beautiful campus. Obviously, the education is top notch, top tier in the country. And then, I just figured if you're good at hockey, they'll find you wherever you're playing. So, decided to get a degree and play hockey at Notre Dame.
And what degree did you get?
Sociology and computer applications. So two different.
Was that in case the hockey thing didn't work out then?
Well, yeah, that's all backup plan. You never know. So. Was able to play hockey, get a scholarship, and get a pretty expensive degree out of it. So I was pretty thankful to be able to do that.
And you've managed to maintain good relationships with the University of Notre Dame, because obviously they've influenced your signings this year in people like Sam Hare and Dylan Malmquist.
Yes, I talked to the coach there. He was there for my senior year, Jeff Jackson. He's turning that program around. He's a great coach. He's doing a great job. So. I still have his contact and just, gave him a call and said, who you got for me? Who's good? And, I asked him a few guys here and there, and he was, very good reviews on these two. And then luckily it worked out. So that was great.
Is it one of those where he's like a mentor from your childhood, so you always go back to him occasionally, or is that just literally just an off chance that you rank him up for that?
I think I talked to him years ago about Europe or where I should go, or a random question here and there. But no, this one was checking in, see how things are going, and then basically just some background checks and some how these guys are as players. So it's nice to have.
And then when you left university, you went straight into the Pittsburgh Penguins. Well, that was dramatic.
That's all right.
And your computer degree almost came in.
It was hidden in
just
there.
So close.
Couldn't find it.
So, Pittsburgh Penguins, I think we were at.
Yep.
It's been really funny for everyone listening to this who doesn't know what just happened.
Yeah, it should flow in. So
I'm sure I can make it flow some way.
Yeah, so you can ask a question and then...
We'll go with Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So you leave from the University of Notre Dame and you get picked up by the Pittsburgh Penguins organization. Because you weren't drafted, were you?
No, I wouldn't say I got picked up. I think my agent at the time was friends with the GM of the Penguins and basically asked for a favor if you could invite this kid to rookie camp. And so, worked my butt off that summer and then went to rookie camp on an invite. And normally it's get in, see you later. But Came in, made an impression, made it to the main camp with all the big dogs. Did that. Then they sent me to the AHL camp. Did that, and then I signed an AHL deal the day of our first game in the American League. So that's how I guess technically that's how I got picked up. And then, so played that year up and down in the minors, and then the East Coast, and then the year after that I signed an NHL deal with Pittsburgh.
And in that first year in the AHL, proving that the Elite League is a very small world, you had Stephen Dixon in your team.
Yes, he's a funny guy. Yeah, he was a funny teammate. I think I may have played with him on a line for a little bit here and there, but he was one of the beauties that I've played with over the years.
And that Wilkes-Barre Scranton team was a very deep team, wasn't it? There's a lot of talent throughout it. I remember when I was talking to Jason, he was saying that when the year he was there, he was disappointed that you didn't go all the way, even though you were supposed to, because even the second year when you're there, you've got a teammate like Alex Goligoski, who's been an NHL stalwart for years.
Yeah, every year in Wilkes-Barre we were good, really good. One year we made it to the finals, but I think that year with Jason, yeah, we were really good. I think we honestly won 22 games in a row. We tied the record for AHL wins or wins and for any team. It was something crazy. But it was a lot of fun. It was well-coached team. I think John Hines was the head coach there. Now he's head coach in New Jersey, and it was a lot of fun.
So you've had 2 years where you played a lot of AHL, then you finally get that chance in the NHL the year after. What was that call like? What was that experience?
The call, I was on the ice, and the equipment guy or the assistant equipment guy said, "Hey, coach wants to see you." And I thought, man, I'm actually playing pretty good. I don't know why I got to go into the office. And then he just, you got called up. So it was like, wow. I mean, it's something you work your whole life, or whenever you start playing hockey and set a goal, it's something you work really hard for. And then for that to happen, it was a great feeling. Told the parents right away, booked a flight, and barely made it the next I think it was 2 days later. Made it to New Jersey. It was a special moment.
And then now you're sharing the ice with guys like Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Jordan Storm.
Right.
What was that experience like?
Oh, a little bit of a blur, especially the first game, or you're just trying to basically not mess up.
Who was your first game against?
It was in New Jersey. First game in New Jersey. It was. It's special. Every day is like, wow. Every day at practice, it's obviously you got to be dialed in, but to see some of the stuff that goes on the ice, it's world class.
And did they make you do your rookie lap when you went out there?
No. Good question. No, they didn't get me.
Oh, that's.
I mean, I was probably, maybe if I was an 18-year-old first rounder, I was a 4-year-old, little different maybe, but definitely my first game.
And do you remember your first shift in your first proper NHL game? Because obviously you played preseason games before that.
Right, I played preseason games, but no, I don't remember. No, like I said, it was probably a blur.
Because was that the year that you had that fight with Lucic? I know has been covered before in the Elite League circles.
Right. I don't know if that was my first year. Could have been my second or third. I don't know.
And then again, you stuck with the Penguins organization for such a long time. You must have felt, was it a case of, I feel at home in this structure that they've got here?
Yeah, I mean, I signed, like I told you, that first year was a 1-year deal, and then the next year I signed a standard 2-year entry level, and then the next year I had the choice to sign a 1-year or 2-year, and I ended up signing a 2-year, maybe because of that. The coaches know my game. I figured, they know my game, they know what I can do. Maybe I'd get a better chance. So 5 years in the Pittsburgh organization is a pretty long time.
And who were your line mates when you were in the NHL?
Well, I mean, I played a decent amount of games, so it's switched a lot. So a lot of different guys. But for the majority, I was fourth line. So I was playing with some tough guys. I was front row to see some heavyweight fights for sure.
Then the second year where you had your NHL call up, you then pretty much spend the whole year with Wilkes-Barre again. And again, proving that this league is very small. You play with Joey Haddad, another Cardiff connection.
Yep, he was played with him in Wilkes-Barre. Good guy. He was up and down, maybe from Wheeling, but I think I remember his first year as a rookie in training camp, and he came down, had a really nice goal, and the next thing you know, he's signed, and then he was up and down in the minors.
And speaking to the depth of the organisation, again, you've got Brian Strait and Mark Letestu, who again are NHL stalwarts, playing in the AHL with you.
Yeah, throughout the years, there was a lot of NHL guys that went through Wilkes-Barre. I mean, a lot. But Goligoski, he's up there for sure. Derek England is there. I mean, I could name a lot of names that actually get call-ups, but there's guys that have got called up and stuck for a long time and made some big bucks.
And then came your year where you had the time with Jason. What was it about that group where you think you got on that, 22-game winning streak? What was it about that group that was so special?
I think we all got along really well. We had great guys that really liked each other and worked hard for each other. But our goalies and our D were top notch, and they would just give the puck to the forwards every time, and we'd keep it in the offensive zone. I think we were really, really well structured with our coach, and we were just deep. We had good systems, and we were just. It was occasionally it was too easy. Sometimes, it was crazy how good we were.
And then, based on the conversations I've had with you and Guy over the summer, that kind of sounds like the kind of team that you guys have strived to build for this season.
I think you're onto something there, Dan. Good job.
I think Jason got you when he said that all the plays and stuff that you do in training they're all the names of the NHL things. That
you're right.
Do.
I've grabbed things here and there from all the coaches and that I've had, but I think D and goalie is really important. If we can get the puck out of our zone as quick as possible, get it on the forward stick, get it going north, get it in the O zone, that should give us a better chance to win. And obviously goalies, you need a good goalie to go far. So. It's early, but hopefully we can do something.
And then after 5 years with Pittsburgh, you decide to go and sign with the New York Islanders. What was that transition like?
July 1st is when you became a free agent, and my agent called, and he's like, man, you got a lot of teams calling, good job. Or I think he was a little surprised, but I did have, a few different options, and some teams were offering more money in the minors and blah, 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 but it was the opportunity that was there in New York. I think, they weren't as deep as some of the other teams, and I wasn't necessarily worried about the AHL salary. My goal, and I was set in stone, I want to play in the NHL, so I had a good talk with them, and then, went to training camp in New York. I didn't have the best training camp. It wasn't bad, but I thought I could have played better. And then went down, played great in the minors, and then got a call up and stayed for a while.
And then you've gone from playing with in the same roster as one great centre to another, from Crosby to Tavares.
Yeah, I've played with some great players throughout the year. Throughout the years, Crosby is the best in the world.
What is it that sets him apart from a first-hand experience of seeing him?
Hockey sense. I think obviously the skill.
So he's not the quickest guy, is he?
He is.
Oh, is it deceptive?
Yeah, he's not. Nowadays McDavid and them, but he's not. He's not deceptive fast. He's fast, and he's powerful. He can cut back and protect the puck really well. Get low center of gravity, but he's. He knows what's going on behind. He knows what's going to happen before, and the skill and the smarts is second to none for that guy.
And then he's a great leader as well.
Right. He doesn't never hoorah, yelling, screaming, hardly ever. And he just leads by example, goes to work, and he's the best.
And then that year when you were with the New York Islanders, you ended up getting claimed off waivers to the Tampa Bay Lightning. What was that? That must be a strange experience to you moving up and down between two, and it's all of a sudden you going over here.
Right. That was a crazy day. My agent at the time was like, "Yeah, you're probably gonna have to go to the minors," and so I got on the ice at practice, just assuming. I think the team had a day off, and I went down and just jumped on the ice, and at noon. That's when and as I was skating around pretty much maybe with another goalie, man, that sucks. And then the coach there was like, Wally, get off the ice. You got claimed by Tampa. I was like, wow. And then a lot of whirlwind, a lot of talks to different people, and I had a buddy from Alaska, Nate Thompson, there. Talked to him, and then went to Tampa, and really enjoyed my time there.
And how quickly did you have to make the move out there? Is it literally the same day? Like,
Yeah,
you're on a plane and you're
next give one day to pack your stuff. I think I still left stuff. Actually, I did. I left a bunch of stuff still in Bridgeport. But yeah, grabbed all my stuff from New York, went back to Bridgeport, which I had stuff there. Left some of it, grabbed some of it, and went to Tampa the next day.
And then again, you've got the teammates you've had on that team in Steven Stamkos, Martin St. Louis, and Victor Hedman, among others. It's just another in the litany.
Right. It was with that team. I was kind of lucky. I was playing third, mostly fourth line, and they like to play 7D. So that means one guy has to double shift with me, and it was like St. Louis, Stamkos, and it was a lot of fun. I was. It wasn't kind of chip and chasing energy. I mean, there was some skill out there, and I got a few points here and there playing with those guys.
And you can't help but learn when you're playing with guys of that caliber, can you?
Right. I mean, it's just a lot easier when you're playing with them. They're fast, dangerous. You put your stick down, and it's hitting your stick. So, that year, Stamkos. He scored 60 goals that year.
Oh, wow.
And I was front row to see him score his 60th.
You created all the space for all those guys.
Yeah, I don't even think I set him up once. He set me up a few times, but no, I don't think I was part of one of his, I don't think. But that was the one guy that I actually, hey man, can you sign this jersey? He scored 60 goals, and it still hasn't happened since, and I don't know if it will again. It probably will, but it's going to be hard.
He's kind of a freak with that one-timer over on the side.
Right.
It's just unstoppable.
Right.
So it's from Tampa Bay to Carolina, and it's another one-year deal. What made you choose Carolina with that decision? Was it, again, more ice time in the NHL?
Carolina, they were just very interested, more than, I guess, the other teams. And that was my sight to play in the NHL. And I was with Pittsburgh for 5 years, so good luck. It was a lot, pretty tough with that lineup. They were winning Stanley Cups, and so I just tried to find a way to get in. Obviously not every team in the league was looking for me, but they were interested and did what I had to do to get there.
Because that's a few years after they won their cup, wasn't it? So was the fever still in Carolina? Or is it like when? A bit more recently, before they had their good year, where it was a bit of a hockey unknown kind of thing.
It was still crazy. I think it dived down a little bit. It wasn't. It probably was 7 years at least, maybe. I don't know exactly since they won the cup. But the fans there are crazy. It's a great place to play, great city, great rink, and they love their tailgates. Their big tailgating. Team. So it was every time you drive to the rink, they're sitting out barbecuing, so it was fun. And
then I'm going to continue with the litany of great teammates. Eric Stoll, Cam Ward, and what I imagine could have been a young Jeff Skinner.
Yep, Jeff. Yeah, they were. Justin Falk was top end there. He was a younger guy, but he was a skilled guy. But that Alexander Semin, the Russian there, played in Washington. He had a crazy shot. That was fun to. Every shot was really fun to watch. It was just crazy, but. NHL, the best players in the world, so every day you're just front row.
And then that year you did go back down to the AHL again, where you see a familiar face to Panthers fans in Luke Pither.
Yeah, he was a funny guy. We got along really well. I've been talking to him, every time we play against each other. Talk to him in the summers a little bit here and there, but he was a good player and fun, good guy.
I remember speaking to him last year. He said you guys were on the same line for
a little bit. Yeah, we played little power play together, I remember, and I think he was my center here and there. He had some skill for sure.
Didn't you have the outdoor game in Charlotte?
No, not me. Missed me by a year, or I don't know.
Because I remember talking to him, and he said he had one.
Oh, no.
He got to play the day before the NHL team.
Right, maybe a different year, or maybe I was called up. I don't know.
After that year, you made the decision to come out to Europe. What influenced that one?
It was a tough one. I had a pretty solid deal with
Ottawa. That's a big change.
Right. I mean, but it's not. I mean, it sounds maybe easy and luxurious to play in the NHL, but man, it's a stressful, cutthroat time to try to.
Especially if you don't know where you're going to be.
Right, up and down. I was never on a one-way deal. One-way deals, you get paid no matter where you are on that salary. So if I got sent down, it was not the same pay. So I was up and down my whole career, trying to find a way to make it the hard way, and it's stressful for sure. But I had a couple deals in place. The agent, kind of wanted to push a little more, and next thing you know, I see they signed someone. I was like, okay, what's going on there? And then
is that like you see someone who's like going to take the kind of role that you?
Yeah, but they just, I think it was a defenseman, and then I'm like, what's going on? And then the deal went, so then it was getting late, so I was like, do I sit and wait and try to find another deal, or maybe might as well check Europe? And then had a pretty solid deal offer for Sweden. Weighed the pros and cons and made a last minute decision. Still thinking I would go back to North America. I still planned on, okay, I'll go to take a deep breath instead of the up and down, tap on the shoulder, send down. I still had the goal of the NHL to go over there, play, work on my offense, come back. But once you head over, it's a little trickier to come back. I think it's
a bit of a stigma to it.
I don't know what it. I had a great year there, and assuming you could, but I don't know. Once you head over, it's a lot hard to come back.
And then that's not a high-scoring league, the SHL. The defenses and the goalies are all very technical. And yet you, in your first year outside of North America, you managed to be the top point scorer.
Right. Yeah, it was a good year. I think honestly, it was just the deep breath of not dealing with the one mistake. You're back in the dang minors. And I believe, wanted to prove that I have offense. In the NHL, you just do what you can to make it, and that's physical, play the right way, no turnovers. I wasn't playing on the top lines with the big dogs, so I just found a way to make it, and then finally I could take a deep breath and prove that I can play offensively, and it was a lot of fun playing in Sweden.
And did you enjoy the culture change from being in America to Europe?
Yes. I remember vividly, like the first Sunday that I got there, just by myself, and I went down to go get a cell phone or something. And it was the most peaceful walk with birds chirping, nobody stressing, no honking of horns, I was just, man, this is a peaceful place. And then I lived there for 2 years. I, met my girl there. But I go back all the time, and it's a very happy country.
Because geography is not my strong point. Whereabouts in Sweden is Örebro?
Örebro.
If I'm butchering that, I apologize.
It's about 2.5 hours east. Speaking of geography, of west of Stockholm.
Oh, okay.
Right in the middle.
And then you enjoyed it so much. Was it a 2-year deal you got there, or did you re-sign? I
re-signed with the same team there. Yeah.
And had you met your partner by that time? Or?
I met her the first year, beginning of the first.
So that made the decision to come back a little bit easier.
It really didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't factor in, but it.
Yeah, but it helps, I guess.
And then that second year, you ended up getting loaned to Brynäs.
Right.
But how does that system work out?
Yeah, in Sweden they do it
because it's interleague loan as well. It's the same.
Right. That was. I'm trying to debate how to. Yeah, they. I had a decent salary, and I think that Örebro didn't. I wasn't scoring a lot, and I wasn't playing as much from day one. So I think. From both parties, it was time to split, and then went to Brynäs in Gävle, and that was a lot of fun as well.
And you had a fleeting experience with Adam Deutsch over there as well.
Yeah, he was a young guy up and coming. He was a nice kid, and luckily still remained in contact.
And was the culture in Brynäs the same as it was in?
Hockey culture or the actual
city, like city life, I imagine.
Right. So Sweden is basically they have a bunch of the same exact cities besides Stockholm and the big cities. There are about 100,000 people with pizza parlors and hair salons all over the place.
I'm terrified of Sweden. I told you this on the phone. I'm terrified because of Midsummer.
Oh yeah, I experienced that. That was
the movie.
Fun.
I'm terrified. Yeah, absolutely terrified.
No, it's fun. It's a happy place. A lot of things to do, but everybody's happy.
And then you must have enjoyed playing in Europe because then you decided to make the trip over to Germany.
Right, Germany. That's another solid league. SHL, DEL, those are good leagues. That was an experience. It's just pretty lucky that I get to go to these countries playing hockey. So it was a lot of fun.
And then what was the difference in the quality of the hockey from the SHL to the DEL? Because perhaps it's a good league, but perhaps doesn't get the respect that the SHL does.
Right, I would. They're pretty similar. I think Germany's maybe a little more physical. Stronger, bigger guys.
More imports. More North American.
No, I would say maybe. I think there's, gosh, I don't know. You can get in Germany. It's might have changed, but maybe 12 you can play at one time, something like that. In Sweden, you could get as many as you want, but there wasn't a whole lot of imports. But Sweden, I would just say the difference. I haven't watched a ton, but the difference is probably the top guys in Sweden might be a little better than the top guys in Germany, maybe. But they're both really good leagues.
Because one of the things you notice about like the German league is the same as almost the IHL, where nationals don't seem to play outside of there. You get the few good ones like your Leon Dreisaitl's, but the nationals seem to stick within the German system.
Yeah, I never. That's very good research, Dan.
I thought that was a really smart question.
Yeah, that was in depth talking about the German national stuff. Good job, good research on you. And I would agree with you.
I only know that because our head coach last year, he was from there and he told us that.
Okay, yeah. But there's some. I think the country Germany itself is getting some great players to come out of it. So pretty interesting to see. And
then was there a culture adjustment from Sweden to Germany? Because Germany's perhaps a bit more industrial than Sweden
right.
is.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I think the language. I think less people speak English in Germany, especially with the older people. Little more. Gosh, I don't want to rip on Germany, but they're a little more old school in terms of technology. Every single thing you think of, you need.
Well, they're efficient. That's the stereotype, isn't it?
But I don't think they're very efficient. I think, gosh, stop putting me on the spot here.
You're not going to go back.
No, but they're a smart country, but they do every little thing you have to do paperwork on anything, and we're talking
officious then rather than
right. You go get a cell phone it's like 10 pages of paperwork for everything you do. But nice people, nice country, good time.
And then you decided to go back home to Alaska, or did you sign in? No, Alaska, yeah.
Right.
You were loaned to Bridgeport that year.
Right, and then I got called up at the end of the year. That was really fun.
Was that a case of going back home?
Yes, I was living at home, got my place there, and luckily I got to do that. It was the last year, halfway through the season, or towards the end of the season, coach came in and said, "We're folding next year." I was like, "Wow!" So to live at home, I literally haven't spent a winter there since I was 15 years old. So it was a little weird. Just remembered as a kid, but it was a lot of fun to play in front of your friends and family at home, and live at home with your parents and friends. So it was a lot of fun.
And it must have been quite an easy adjustment, because I think you told me that Alaska is one of the only rinks that had the European ice size. It was bigger than all the rest of them.
Right.
So there was no adjustment for you to go back until you got on the road.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Dan, you're doing good on your research. Yeah, it was a big...
I remember things.
Yeah, it was a big ice surface. So we had a pretty fast team, but you could definitely take advantage of the other teams playing at home for sure.
I mean, you've got Ben Lake, who was on that team, who tore up the EIHL last year with Coventry before he made his move to Belfast. And then also another familiar face is Kevin Carr.
Right. Yeah, that's the connection there with Kevin. He was great for us. Great kid. So he was my first call.
And then is he always someone you've always kept in contact with, or is it a case of him just being available this year and you recognised the name and you and Guy were like, yes, we need that guy?
I follow him on social media and I think I probably talked to him last year in Milton Keynes. But I was always keeping an eye on him, where he was playing. And then, when this job came, I, instantly gave him a call.
Because he had an opportunity out in the Czech Republic before he came here,
right? And
he didn't really stick there,
right?
So do you think when he came back here, was that a case of maybe unfinished business within Europe kind of thing?
I think you'd have to ask him. I don't know.
He's going to be on here.
Okay, so yeah, save that one for Kevin. I don't want to put into words for him, but I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a good whatever wherever he was. But I know he's a good goalie, so we're happy to have him.
And then you say at the end of that year, that's when you went up to Bridgeport, just towards the back end.
Right, got called up back to Bridgeport where I played. Years before. I knew the same coach was there, so had a good experience to play back in the American League.
And then after that season, you get the call. You want to come and play in England.
Yeah.
What was that like? Because this league, if you're not, were you aware of the Elite League before you got here?
I had a few buddies that played in the league.
Because it has the perception, or less so now, that it's a perception of people come here to retire, kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's changing for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I had a buddy that I played with that we remained in contact, and he said you should call Sheffield. You would love it there. So I called around, see if Austria was going to come available, and then got a hold of Sheffield, and it was they wanted me there pretty quick, so went to Sheffield.
And then what were your experiences like? Like your first experience of Elite League hockey, was it like, oh, this is better than I thought it was, or did you think it was good before you came?
I had no idea. I looked at YouTube and watched clips. I had no idea, but the first experience was a game in Manchester, and it was
that's
it
a
was
wake
chaos.
up.
Yeah, it was chaos.
So then,
Fought. It was that was my first experience.
Welcome to the Elite League.
Right. It was wow. Yeah, it was quite the first impression.
And then you get to take part in games like the Panthers versus the Steelers, which is a different world to playing in Manchester, when you've got the huge crowds and you've got the big ice and everything like that. When you get to experience that rivalry firsthand, does that show you like what this league is kind of about when you see all the fans packed in for that?
The rivalry, it is special for sure. I mean, and not a lot of teams or arenas or programs in all of Europe get that amount of fans. So it's rare, and the rivalry is very special. It's been going on, you would know how many years, long time probably.
I've not got that research.
I'll put you on the spot. You don't know. So it's been going on a long time, and it's like I said, pretty rare to have that many fans in a game in Europe for sure.
I think you've also got the fans in the UK. They're probably a lot more knowledgeable than they get credit for, aren't they?
Yeah, I think I've listened to a few local podcasts here in Nottingham, and they do know more than I thought, to be honest. But I think they're learning. I think it's really coming around for England and the UK in general. So I think this league has a lot of potential for sure.
And then you still put up 30 points in Sheffield, but probably still not the year that you wanted, scoring only 6 goals. Did that impact your decision making on going to Milton Keynes, that you weren't done with the Elite League and you wanted to show fans over here what you were about?
I knew it was, I just puck wouldn't go in the net. I knew I still had game. I still think I have game now, but
I've seen that with those shots in practice.
Yeah, that was not today. Yeah, Sam, that gospel, he's my nemesis right now.
He's pretty good.
Yeah. I'll get him tomorrow, but
you've changed the stick, maybe.
Right, I gotta cut it down a little shorter. That's the real reason.
We'll get an update on that.
Film it.
Oh, that's good. That's good Twitter content.
Yeah.
That'll be.
We'll see if maybe don't.
Are you gonna let me put it out if he saves it?
Well, if it's one shot, you can do whatever, but maybe take 3 and see if I do something cool. So yeah, I knew I still had game. Wanted to play in Europe for sure. And then the opportunity in MK came, and I took it.
And that's quite a fan base down in MK. I remember I went to a game towards the back end of the year when you were in charge, and that fan base was just crazy in a good way.
Right, they are crazy in a good way. They are extremely loyal. Very, very rare fan base there. I mean, we didn't have a lot of players. We were short bench with injuries and all sorts of things, and we were losing 4-0, 5-1, and they're still cheering for us, full loud cheering for us. They just wanted us to work hard and have a good experience at MK. It's a pretty rare breed over there.
And then whilst you're playing in Milton Keynes, there's all the things that happen with the coach there. You then get asked to take over as a co-coach. Had that ever crossed your mind before moving into that stage of your career? Because at that point, I think you're only 32, 33.
Mm-hmm.
So was that something you'd ever considered before you were asked?
Yeah, that was part of the reason why I signed at MK was, okay, I'll come if I can be a player coach. And the coach at the time which made sense. He wanted to get to know me and work with me a little bit before he made that decision. So, held him to it, assuming that I'd be player coach soon. I worked really hard to help him with recruiting, help MK in general. And then things happened, and it kind of just fast forwarded. And instead of assistant coach, I was just head coach.
Then you're in charge of, like you say, there weren't many players there. It was at times it was bare bones. What was it like trying to galvanise those guys? Because Milton Keynes, yes, you may have lost games, but they were competitive every time you played Milton Keynes.
It was great guys over there. We just all battled through the elements. It wasn't easy, but for the most part, guys worked hard and took some guys a little longer to learn the systems there. But once we were on the same page or working hard, it was everybody had to be focused when they were coming in to play us.
And then you started off as co-coaches, but then it very quickly transpired to just being you. What was that like because you've got at least you've got someone to lean on then.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's just you in your first year in that kind of situation, what's going through your head at that moment?
It was a great learning experience. It wasn't. It really wasn't. The only difficulty was when I just finished a shift and I can barely breathe and I'm sitting, and the guys are standing in front of me and I couldn't see what was going on. And I couldn't see certain things, but it was a great learning experience. I'm thankful for that to be able to do that, and now a little more resources here in Nottingham.
And then to score that goal against Sheffield in your last game may have been really special.
Yeah, I didn't really think of that, but hopefully, that could be the last goal. Even to say that out loud. Could be the last.
Because you've never said whether
career.
You have retired or not.
Right. I think I'm in denial. I don't know what is going on here. Hopefully I am. I don't really plan to there'd have to be a really lot of injuries. But I never thought of that. Thanks for being serendipitous.
Yeah. Because it's against the former team.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, now I had to sit back.
Because I remember when it happened, when the video went up, all of the fans cheered, even the Sheffield fans.
Right, it was a nice little, which I didn't know, farewell tour. But yeah, it was just a goal, I guess.
Because then when you were finishing that year in Milton Keynes, did you have eyes on playing again, or was that about the next stage after you'd finally experienced the coaching side of it?
I wanted to be a player coach. That was what I planned on doing. I planned on being a player coach. If that didn't come, then I would just play.
Because you were part of the conversations with Milton Keynes when they were trying to stay in the Elite League, weren't you?
Right, I would have been player coach again if that would have went through. And then I planned to be a player coach somewhere, assistant coach, head player coach, and then you realize it's pretty rare for that opportunity. I think this league and might be the only one, and then this league's kind of steering towards not doing that. So, then Guy kind of called and we talked, and it was kind of a ultimatum-ish. We want you to be that coach, but you can't play. Took 2 days, maybe a day to figure it out, and then the biggest thing, I would regret it if I didn't take this opportunity. So.
And then when Guy does reach out to you, was it him or did you get in touch with him?
He reached out to me.
And then that conversation was it about your philosophies and about you two guys getting along from that point?
We just had a talk, and and then we talked about philosophies. I'm sure
you two are very on the same page,
right? Obviously he did his background checks too. I think he did his background checks, and then we just talked for a little bit, and then we started. Like I said, I think I took a day, maybe two, to realize the opportunity in front of me, and then, got it done. And then, we talked every day for the whole summer, and then to meet him in person, it was actually a weird experience.
I think I was there when you first met each other.
Yeah. It's like, 4D, it was never experienced that before. You talk to somebody every day for 3 months. But we believe in a lot of the same things. I think we're work well together, and we get along really well. So it's been a good fit.
It's also nice for you guys to have each other, because this is your first year as a full-time head coach, and it's his first year as director of hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice for you to kind of be there for each other.
Right. We're there's a lot going on a day-to-day basis, and we're just doing whatever we can. Well, ultimate goal is to win hockey games, but we also want it to be a great experience for all the guys. We want it to be simple transition from wherever they're coming from, and we're going to work hard and do what it takes. But ultimately, the guys are playing hockey for a living, so it needs to be fun. But it's way more fun when you win. So hopefully we'll do that.
And then before you actually got to Nottingham, you got to have the birth of your first child. That must have been, there's a big few weeks there where you have that, and then a few weeks later you're coming to Nottingham.
Right. Yeah. That was a mind-blowing experience there in July. So that was crazy. And then, I had to leave. They're still there. So it's.
Because they're coming in soon, aren't they?
Early October they'll be here. So
you must be looking forward to that.
Right. Yeah. It's been.
It's been Christmas come early.
Obviously, it's been harder for her. But it's hard for me. But she's the one that's got it harder, I think.
So you got to do a lot of making up when she gets back.
I gotta cook some dinners.
And then when you get to Nottingham for the first time, and you've been in this building before, you've been in the corridors and things, but then you get to walk into that home locker room. What was your first reaction to all that?
It's a great setup. I never, obviously playing against, I don't get to go in and see the other team's locker room, but it's a great setup. The guys have all they need. Enough space for everything, training room, everything. There's no excuses here in Nottingham not to do whatever you can to win hockey games.
And what's it like having Strax next to you, that experienced head?
It's great. He's a real happy, nice guy. Fun to bounce ideas off him. And he's been around a while, so he's got all sorts of drills that they've been doing back in the Manitoba back in the 60s, I'll say 70s for Rick. But he's a great guy. We get along really well, and I'm happy to have him.
And he's been around this club for a long time now. He's been here through the highs and the lows, so it's good to have that guy to go and speak to, I imagine.
Right. He knows he knows how it goes. He knows the ins and outs, and like you said, he's been here a long time. So if I have a question about anything, he pretty much knows. So.
And then as a head coach, as a player, you were very ambitious, always wanting to play in the NHL. That's the level I want to be at. What are your ambitions as a head coach now that that's where you're at? I know you're a one day at a time.
But you got to have goals.
Yeah.
One day at a time guy for sure, but you got to have a goal. Yeah. So maybe I should add a comma after one day at a time. The ultimate goal, coaching the NHL would be ideal. But coaching in the SHL would also be great. I think that's a great league, and obviously I have some connections in Sweden, so that would be fun as well. So whatever step it takes, but I've played with Jeremy Colleton. I played with him in Bridgeport and New York for a little bit, and he went to Sweden in the Allsvenskan. I think he got a concussion, then he was the head coach for Mora, and then they moved up to the SHL, and then he was the head coach in SHL 1 year in the minors, and he's the head coach of Chicago Blackhawks right now.
Oh, wow.
So that would be my route if I could. But so it can happen. I think whatever happens. But I'm gonna do what I can and work hard to try to get wins.
So now you're enjoying the complete transition to being head coach. Then the different challenge that brings.
I am enjoying it. Yeah, it's. I got to get some routines down that I'm not quite. It used to be skate, go eat, hang out. Now it's stay at the rink. I'm hungry. I got to bring a lunch. So the routine situation, I got to dial in. First game here, more nervous than I've been since I've been back in the NHL. It was a weird, out of my control type of weird nervousness. So it's fun, it's not, it's a job that, you get your heart rate going, you're into it. It's a great job to have. Yeah, there's ups and downs, and there's some stress, but I've been, as you can tell, for what my career has been, I've been dealing with some stress. So, like I said, one day at a time with some goals.
And this league also presents quite a unique challenge where coaches are expected to get involved in recruitment and things rather than just. And obviously with Guy here, he's dealt with a lot of the recruitment, but you've been involved in that with him. So
yeah.
what's it like balancing those two aspects?
I think it's great. I think I wanted back when I played, I always said I want to be a GM. That would be my dream job. And then to actually be able to luckily be a coach and technically a GM. In America, the GM is the guy that gets the players and organizes the budget and everything. But to be able to get both worlds is rare, and I'm thankful, and I'm enjoying it for sure. It's but now that I've done both, I would rather be a coach. So it's a lot of fun. It's really, that's probably why I was so nervous the first game, because you spend all that time putting a team together and then coaching and getting the system down, and I'm confident that it will work, but just that how hard you work to get those guys on the ice, and then it's out of your control. It was a fun experience for sure.
And then I noticed that you don't go on the bench at warm-ups. You kind of watch through from the corridor. Is that something that's got to be new, because obviously you've never done this before?
Right. Yeah. I just I don't know. I'm just figuring out now. It's kind of getting into maybe superstition type of things here. I don't think there's a need for me to watch warm-up, to be honest.
And then you say you were nervous, and then your first game, that preseason game against Cardiff, when John Rowe hits that game winner with 17 seconds left. Yes, it's preseason, but you must have been over the moon.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was fun. I think we played a solid game. So I was obviously it's better to win, but I think we deserved to win that game, and it was I guess icing on the cake. But it's calmed down the nerves since that game one for sure. But it's still a very very intense, very rewarding, and can be frustrating job for sure.
It's almost a shame that you've had so many games on the road after the three, the Cardiff, Coventry, Sheffield, and then after that, it's probably we don't exist.
Yeah, it's what it happens. Every year the schedule's different. I think it's beginning of the year to go on the road. It's tough to say, but I think it's better for the group. You go in with an attitude of nothing to lose. The team's together, and you just gel as a team. Where you battle on the road together, and then hopefully when we get back home, we're flying.
And then the Panthers fans, they hit the road with the team in their hundreds. Up in Scotland this weekend, they were out singing the home fans on some occasions.
Yeah, that's great, especially to know how long the drive is. It's really special to see that support, and to hear them in a road rink, and to hear them cheering for us on the road it's a pretty special feeling for sure. And
speaking of that, there's at Panthers games now where we sit in the box opposite, you can always see a few Milton Keynes shirts now. We seem to have collated some Milton Keynes fans.
Yeah, they got some fans there for Georgie and myself for sure, and it's not that far of a drive, so they're they would need their elite league fix, I think.
Was George a guy that you wanted to see how he would do at one of the bigger teams? You obviously when he started in Milton Keynes, he didn't get the points perhaps that people thought he would. Then you took over, and he did. So were you keen to see how he would do in this kind of environment?
I just wanted a team that would win hockey games. So I think he has a lot of good qualities, as a person and a player, and he's young and he's ready to learn. And I think he was a slow learner in Milton Keynes, but now that he has learned with my system, he's playing great for us right now. It is early, but I was happy for him to come over here to Nottingham. He's having a blast for sure.
Alex, he had a few injury-plagued seasons before he got to Milton Keynes, and he'd even flirted with the KHL and things like that. So his skill is there for everyone to see.
Right. I think he, that's everybody can see that, and a few times he'll jump on the ice and he'll literally be skating with the puck, and the crowd will be whoa, But it's the little things, it's the systems that he's slowly starting to grasp, which is going to help his game a lot. And who knows where he can go.
Well, I remember that when there was the game in Milton Keynes last year where you guys beat us in the shootout where you scored 2 of them.
Yeah.
And in overtime, I think you put him out there for about 2 minutes of it must have been. And he just kept circling back around. And it was the most terrifying thing I think I've ever seen.
You're right. Once he gets wheeling and dealing, he gets moving. So you got to have a good angle when you go at him. So he's an explosive player for sure.
So you're over a month into life in Nottingham now. Settled in? Just waiting for the family to get here?
Settled in. I got a few things to unpack out of the suitcase. Just a couple. I'm pretty much settled. I got some cleaning to do before they come, but feel like I know the city pretty well. I haven't. I've driven here and there, but I haven't explored too much outside because I literally live across the street here. But it's a great city for sure. It's anything you need is walking distance, and the restaurants are the best that I've experienced in this country, but I've only been to a few cities here and there. But man, it's a great city, a lot going on, a lot to do, and the fans are unbelievable for sure. And
then when you're out away from the rink, what do you like to do there? Like to decompress from the hockey, or are you just all hockey all the time at the moment?
I do have to watch a lot of video, but when I'm not, I'll just relax, cook dinner every once in a while. If I'm not, going to the nice restaurants, but just, watch the movies, normal stuff, play a little PlayStation.
What's your PlayStation game of choice?
FIFA.
FIFA? Are you good at FIFA?
Yep.
Okay, because we might be hooking that up to the big Jumbotron at some point.
Awesome.
Having a big
that'd be fun.
Team tournament.
Yeah, I've obviously slowed down.
Because I know it's FIFA versus NHL for a lot of with the team, like what guys play.
Okay.
But yeah, from what conversations I've had with them, but yeah, we might be hooking it up to the Jumbotron.
That would be great. Maybe a quick FIFA tournament with the guys.
But the idea was that we span it out over like a month or something and get like 1v1s and then film them playing and record the footage from the screen and stuff.
It's a good idea. I'll be in for that one. I haven't played.
Well, you didn't come to the dogs thing, so you got to do something.
What?
You didn't come to the dogs thing, so you got to do something.
Oh, Dan, the man. Come on, man. I had stuff going on.
And you've done this as well, so this was...
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Like when Jason did it, he was saying that you guys don't get to talk like this very often, whereas it's just the same questions and it's the cliche answers that come back. Whereas with this, you actually get to sit down and you get to compress things.
I've never... I don't know if I've done this before in my life, just like a podcast. It's it's hopefully you just don't want to say the wrong thing or two.
I don't know if you're a bad luck charm when the camera went down.
What?
I don't know if you're a bad luck charm when the camera went down.
Yeah, that was a loud beep, but Dan, you got to be more focused, I think. Dan.
Yeah, no, I really dropped the ball on that one. It was not the biggest guest I've had so far, and I wasn't prepared.
Yeah, you got to focus, man.
You're a big music guy, aren't you, as well?
Very, very, yeah.
And you've been quite involved in our selection for the new Jumbotron.
I've just given my 2 cents.
That's a good 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, you can. It's your call, but I just gave some options. We'll see how it goes.
Because I know you've messaged a few of the guys about songs and things that they liked as well, didn't you? What would get them going?
It's all. Hopefully they'll be able to maybe hear the song or see what's going on, because any advantage we can get, that would help. So it's a great place to play. So let's get it rocking as best way we can.
I'm not going to spoil what the song is, but I'm going to say it's different, but it's very good.
Yeah, I didn't choose it. I just gave you a few different options. Stop putting it on me, Dan.
No, I like it. I'm all in on it. The word I use to describe it to everyone is epic.
Well,
with the violins and with everything like that.
Again, I just sent a bunch of songs, and you guys went through with it. But I agree. I think
Ted Nugent got shut down pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's fine.
I remember talking to Guy about that one. He didn't get it either.
Yeah,
because you say you came out to that one in Wilkes-Barre.
Yep, there was. I think that was a year with Jason, maybe, but.
Because the intros, it's very different over there, isn't it? There's a video on you guys just like kind of skate on underneath everything that's already happening.
Yeah, every team for the most part's different. Every team is different. Every media team is different. So whatever we could do to get the crowd going, get momentum. I think momentum is a crazy thing in sports, and to get momentum in any way possible gives you such an advantage. It's if you watch the NHL playoffs, and
you should look at the whiteouts in Winnipeg, kind of
right.
thing.
If you see momentum and you feel momentum, it's like everything goes right. It's a weird thing. You haven't to even describe it. If you really think about it, it's a crazy thing. So hopefully we can get a lot of momentum here in Nottingham.
And then are you a rock music guy generally then?
Not really, I would say no.
What's your genre of choice?
It phases. It goes. I like oldies. I like indie, folk, Dave Matthews, stuff like that. Easy listening stuff, I guess.
Is that live music?
Live,
as in go to concerts and things.
Oh yeah, when I can. I've been to probably 8 Dave Matthews concerts, and then
were they all in North America or?
All in North America. Yep, all in North America.
So what was the last concert that you went to?
Wow.
This might be on your sheet that you handed in, but I haven't read that. So
right.
I haven't looked at it.
Obviously, it wasn't that memorable.
It can't be that good.
Man, last concert. I'm trying to think of. Did I go to one in Anchorage? No. It had to be a couple years ago, and I don't know.
Last movie you saw?
That Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time.
One. Yeah.
Are you a Tarantino guy?
Some of his stuff.
Which ones?
I liked Inglorious, the B word. Trying to get me to cuss on camera.
That's not technically a swear word over here.
No. I thought that was interesting. But
because he's quite out there.
Right.
With all the things that he does.
Yeah. Pulp Fiction, thought it was good. I'm not obsessed with it. But
Django?
Man, I think I've saw it, but I don't remember it, so...
Are you a big movie guy then?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
What would be your top 5?
Count of Monte Cristo. You seen that movie?
Nope.
Oh, come on, Dan. Count of Monte Cristo, not the one in the gray 60s one, the newer one with John Cazaval. That's Jim Cazaval, maybe. Yeah, look, Count of Monte Cristo.
Do you want to have a look?
Yeah, I think I'm right. I think it's Jim Cazaval or something like that. Saving Private Ryan. I really like Home Alone. That's every time I watch it, it makes me happy.
Jim Caviezel.
Yeah, something like that.
And Guy Pearce.
Right. That's a classic.
It's still the one thing people can't believe. I've never watched Home Alone.
That's sad. Are you Scrooge? Do you like Christmas?
Yeah. Just never transpired.
That's very. It's almost like you do it so you can just say that.
It's just to be edgy now.
Right. That's exactly. I can sense that out of you. Well, you need to. I mean, it's a classic.
So it's the same with the Mighty Ducks, or Slapshot.
You haven't seen those?
Nope.
You should probably watch those if you're working in hockey.
Gary's got a poster in his office of Slapshot.
Yeah, they're.
It's a pretty big deal.
They're classics. Yeah, I'd say with Slapshot, the more you watch it, the better it gets. I would say.
Well, the main sports film wise, I've always gravitated to basketball or boxing, which is weird because I don't watch boxing.
But you like those movies.
But the movies are probably the best. It's the best sport that translates to a film.
Football's got some good ones.
Longest Yard?
It's good. Remember the Titans is good.
Nope.
But basketball does. I mean,
Coach Carter.
Yeah, that's good.
Space Jam. It counts.
Yeah. Okay.
Like Mike.
Yeah, I mean,
White Guys Can't Jump.
That's classic. He Got Game.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yep.
That's a good one. What's the one with the Hoosier? I think called Hoosiers. Hoosiers with Gene Hackman. If you like basketball movies.
No, I may have to.
That's a good one.
I may have to look into that one.
I think it's Hoosiers.
Because there was that weird sports film with the guys from South Park in it as well. They made up a sport, and it's something.
Oh yeah, the basketball.
That's the one. Yeah, it's just a complete.
Right. I don't know. I mean, we're talking all good, serious movies here, and then you bring up Basketball and Space Jam.
That's the kind of...
Hey, everybody's their own, to each their own. But Baseball actually was pretty funny. Pretty funny movie.
I'm all about comedies and things.
Right. What's your favorite movie then, Dan?
Jurassic Park.
Ha!
Don't even have to think about it.
Right. I like that call.
I was prepared for that one.
Yeah, good. That's a great movie. Awesome.
When I was a kid, I always wanted to be a paleontologist.
Okay.
I wanted to be Dr. Alan Grant.
Right.
Then I started to realise there's probably no more dinosaur bones anymore.
Right.
So that would be a bad idea.
You and Ross Geller from Friends.
We get on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I decided that getting a bit more digital is probably the way to go.
Yeah, well, you do a great job, man. Keep going.
Well, I'm getting there.
One day at a time.
So what's the rest of your evening plan then?
Clean a little bit. I'm gonna cook dinner and.
Because you've got this out of the way nice and early.
Right. Thank you for that. So now I can cook some dinner and I gotta watch some hockey.
Well, we'll let you get on with that then. But thank you very much for coming on and being guest number 2.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Had a lot of fun.
Thank you.